I want to welcome you to today's live stream on marketing and artificial intelligence technologies. My name is Slava Kuridak, and I am super excited for you to be here with us on a Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This live stream is meant to educate, inspire, and share best practices for how entrepreneurs, executives, and decision makers can leverage modern AI technologies to solve business problems. This live stream is meant to give back to the community, to inspire executives to leverage these technologies to solve real problems. I encourage you to join in and ask questions, create a conversation with us. Today we have an exciting guest joining us in a few minutes. Seth Pina from SEOFromSeth will be joining us during this live event. For those who are new to live streaming or who are just joining, I encourage you to leave in the comment section below or on your right, depends where you're joining from, your name or your location. I'll start things off for you. I am from Vancouver, Canada, and I'm excited to see everyone who is joining us today. This live stream is meant to be interactive, so if you have any questions about what you hear or see today, I encourage you to simply ask away. This live stream is meant to focus on two topics of interest, one being marketing, and the second being AI technologies. And this live stream is also meant to help bridge the gap between technology and business. There are many folks who are on the business side, on the marketing side, and they need to better understand how they can leverage AI technologies to help them do their job better, faster, and ultimately get their company to generate more revenue. So let's sort of recap why we are in this discussion. So AI technologies are really a set of tools that anyone can use, whether they are technical or not, in order to make their life easier. Right? Marketers are one of the core functionalities of any business today. Marketing essentially is the act of selling products or services. Amidst COVID-19, we saw marketing get kickstarted into the online space. Today, marketing is dominated by the digital marketing concepts that we often hear about when we think about marketing, and those are leveraging social networks, leveraging advertisements to promote products or services. So this is the context of our conversation today. So while I'm setting up, I also want to quickly make sure that we have our guests joining us. So please be patient as we bring on today's special guest. And if you're interested to jump in and have a conversation with us, then I highly encourage you to do so. You can do that by simply typing on your screen, and you will see that link just down here below. You type go.produvia.com/live. And I'll make it easier for everyone to type this in as well. I will type it in the comment section so you're able to do that yourself by simply clicking on that link. So hopefully you can see that, and this is a way for you to leverage the software that we are using ourselves so that you can come on stage, so that you can ask us questions directly. So please don't be intimidated by this particular live stream. If you have a question, if you're interested to share an insight when it comes to marketing, I encourage you to jump in and have a conversation with us. So before our guest joins us, I want to sort of kick things off. So what we're doing now is we are discussing marketing and specifically and technologies to improve their marketing. Briefly, we've touched on marketing, but I also want to touch on our sort of the aspect of artificial intelligence. So for those who are not familiar, AI technologies is a set of technologies that really aims to replicate how the human mind works. Right? The goal is to replicate, what is the sort of the technology that we need to use to come up with something that we already do ourselves, right? So again, the goal is to leverage AI technologies to solve problems, and AI technology is simply a set of tools, a set of technologies that are learning from data and applying insights to solve any specific problem. Today's problem is, how can we use AI technology to solve marketing? And it's really a matter of figuring out what is the best possible way to do that. So hopefully that is clear enough for you. Again, the goal is to see how we can use AI technologies to solve marketing problems. And marketing is a business function that is critical to the success of modern companies. So now that we have an established baseline for what both marketing is and why it's needed, I also want to explain sort of the importance of AI technologies, and then it's slightly different than what we typically associate with when we think about just general technology. So AI technologies are highly specific to solving problems where we have uncertainty. So let's backtrace here. So technology itself is an incredible tool that allows anyone to, with certainty, solve problems, right? If you think of programming as traditional if-then statements, then any technology you use is able to help you to accomplish this. However, as soon as you introduce any uncertainty, or as soon as you want to leverage probabilities in your quest to solve problems, that's where you can use AI technology. That's the best use case of AI technology today. It's leveraging probabilities to solve data problems. So that's the why, right? Why should we use AI technology? What is the benefit? Is that we're able to leverage data and we're able to better deal with uncertainties or probabilities in this world. So how does that relate to marketing? Well, I want to, on a high level, give you two ways to think about AI in marketing. First is that we're aiming to understand the present. We're aiming to understand what is happening in marketing today, right? This is where we are really creating an understanding by looking at the data that marketers can get access to. So perhaps it's social media data over time, or perhaps it's marketing campaign data that the company has in order to come up with its analysis. This is the present moment. We are making sense of the present moment. One way to think of this is that, what is the demand of our product look like, or our service? Who is our ideal customer? We can answer these questions if we do something called data science, but we can also answer these questions if we develop classification models using either machine learning or deep learning technologies. So hopefully that makes things a bit clearer. Again, the goal is to create a system where we're aiming to understand the present. The second way that you can think about AI technology is from the perspective of, how can we predict the future, right? This is where we're aiming to really understand, what does that future look like, right? Where is the demand for our product next? Who is going to be our ideal customer next, right? What is the future state? Second, high-level way to think about first being what does the present of marketing look like? These are often using something called classification models or regression models. But the second is we're aiming to predict the state of marketing. And so these are called prediction models, right? Again, you can use either classification or regression to do this. But these are just two high-level ways to think about AI technology. Hopefully that makes things a bit clearer. And I encourage you to ask questions or make statements by jumping in and having a conversation with us. Again, I remind you, this is a live event. If you're interested to come up on stage, I encourage you to visit the link below and you will be able to jump in and have a conversation with us. The goal of this event is to educate, inspire, and share best practices for leveraging AI technologies. And today we're discussing how AI technologies can assist with marketing efforts. Hopefully that makes things a bit clear as I reset the room. So for those who are joining us at this moment, we are discussing AI in marketing. Both are extremely important for the success of any business. Today's companies, they're leveraging media, they're creating marketing campaigns, are able to generate massive revenue for their business bottom line. So any company that's doing marketing is better off than a company that's not involved in marketing. And marketing has many hats, right? Some of these hats are quite well established. So I want to take a few moments and recognize, what is some of the common practice today. So I've mentioned that it has accelerated the pace and the adoption of marketing technologies, and that pace is has been driven by the need for companies to go online to provide online products and services. But what does marketing look like? So in a nutshell, a couple ways to think of it. I've mentioned products and pricing or products and services, but you can also think of cost or pricing falling under marketing campaigns, right? Figuring out what is the best possible price to charge for your product or service is under marketing. Figuring out the distribution channels, who will see your product or service in the marketplace, how will you reach them, right? Marketing and sales go hand to hand. So if you're able to solve marketing related problems, then this is one way to address these types of problems. So I encourage everyone who is listening and watching us to think about, what are some of the challenges that you face in marketing, right? Ultimately, marketing is a tool that allows you to generate more revenue for your business. So it is a tool that is often combined with sales. However, there are other goals that companies tend to focus on if they're not focusing on revenue generation, right? Some of these goals include increasing the exposure of the brand, right? Sometimes you hear the words branding, and this is exactly the intent. The goal of marketing, outside of generating more revenue for the company, is to increase exposure of that brand so that others are able to find it, able to talk about it, are able to spread the word of the brand, right? So today's brands are using and defining rather their branding, and they're using marketing as a means to get their brand into the public eye or ear. So the technology is really allowing people to create a distribution channel for how their products and services are found online. But I also want to mention that marketing consists of research, right? So one element to consider is that anyone who is trying to make sense of the marketplace, they need to do research. And this also falls under marketing. So again, marketing composes of many aspects, everything from product sales, pricing cost, research, and distribution. And in fact, AI technologies can help with every single one of these elements. So I encourage individuals who are interested to actually consider, what is your path for marketing? What are your goals, right? Are you aiming to generate revenue? Are you aiming to increase brand exposure? Well, these are amazing goals to pursue. So the first step to using any technology is being super clear on your goals, super clear on your milestones, super clear on your vision. So let's establish this as a foundation, right? Technology is simply a tool. It's a means to the end of accomplishing our goals, our milestones, or our visions. Now, imagine we want to leverage AI technology for increasing our exposure online, right? There's many ways to do this. One of the areas I would like to start with is the area of using AI technology for copywriting. Right? This is an amazing way to use the technology and scale a business, right? So if we're able to leverage AI technology in such a way that allows us to offer insights and create technologies for our clients, then we're able to scale marketing efforts. And one of these use cases is the application of copywriting. Okay, so before I sort of dive deeper into our live event and we discuss further the applications of live streaming, I also want to quickly message our speaker who is coming on in this particular live event. And I just want to make sure that SEOFromSeth is able to get a clear setup before he joins. Okay, so perfect. So I just followed up with Seth, and I want to make sure that he has the best possible lighting so that we can actually see his face. So before we do that, we can definitely dive deeper into the conversation. So if Seth is ready, then what I'll do is I'll bring him on, I'll introduce him briefly, and once he's ready to go, we will start this particular live event. So while Seth is setting up, I will quickly dive deeper into the application of copywriting for marketing. So as I've mentioned, marketers need copy in order to get their word out. They need to be able to leverage, for example, both the tools of social media, and they need to be able to leverage copywriting so that they get their word out. And one of the ways to do that is to be able to leverage technology that allows them to create copyright. So definitely encourage everyone to consider using AI technologies for copywriting purposes. So I definitely am excited to dive deeper into this use case for those who are interested. Again, we are live and we're discussing marketing and AI. The title of the talk is how individuals and companies can go beyond automation. And I definitely would like to dive deeper into your use cases. But before I do, I am excited to introduce a speaker of this particular event. So I've briefly mentioned the ability to use AI technologies to generate copy. I also want to give a more specific example of what that looks like and feels like. The goal is to generate copy, but how will it be done? What is necessary to be able to do this? Well, one of the techniques that anyone can use to generate copy is to leverage something called language models. These models are based on deep learning architectures, and these architectures allow companies to generate text that looks, sounds, and feels like it was written by a person, right? So the goal of language models is to create technologies that are hyper realistic. The ultimate state is for a company to create copy whereby the consumer of that copy, whoever is listening, watching, or absorbing the marketing material, does not know if that material was written by a person or generated by a machine, right? So the ultimate state is to create copy that is human-like. So I want to make sure that we're able to focus on this particular benefit. Being able to generate copy that is realistic, being able to generate copy that is human performance level is critical if we are to use these technologies. So I definitely would love to bring on Seth to this live event, but I also want to make sure that we have the best possible experience. So what I'll do is I'll bring on Seth, and and if you have any difficulties with seeing Seth or hearing him, please let me know, and then we can always do another event in the future, and this could be a follow-up to this particular live event. So I'm super excited to introduce Seth Pina from SEO from Seth. Seth is a marketer at heart. He began in marketing and saw a demand in the marketplace for SEO services. For those who are not familiar, SEO is an abbreviation. SEO is critical to the success of any company because it allows companies to quantify ability for search. Right? Think of SEO as a tool. You use SEO to see if you and your brand, your online presence, your website, your applications is visible online. So I'm excited to bring on Seth, and you will see now Seth show up on your screen in about 3, 2, 1. Welcome, Seth.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Great. I'm glad that the picture has worked out. Things are doing great. I'm glad you're with us today. We're discussing marketing and AI. I'm very thankful that you took the time to join us approximately 9 p.m. Eastern Pacific time or 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So super excited to chat with you. There's a lot to cover to get you up to speed to where we are today. We've so far shared with our audience what is marketing and why it's important. We've discussed AI and its importance, and we've so far have dived deeper into one specific use case of AI technology, which is helping marketers to generate copy, and that copy is necessary for marketers to do their job better, right? So if we're able to assist marketers as they are creating copy for themselves and their clients, then we're able to assist them in that marketing process. So this is where we're at, and feel free to give our watchers and our listeners a little bit of your background so that everyone can get up to speed of who is Seth and what is SEO from Seth.
Yeah, so thanks for having me, first and foremost. My name is Seth, the CEO of SEO from Seth. So I have been doing search engine optimization for some time now, almost 5 years. And I've been in the world of digital marketing for a larger company, and I just decided, kind of do my own thing and make it more affordable for newer startup companies and smaller businesses, and get them on a pedestal of SEO so that way they can transition into being part of a larger company that could do a whole lot more work. SEO, in short, search engine optimization, is the number one way to get visibility and traffic on your website, and making sure everything is smooth and concise and that Google can rank or audit your page, and you'll show up higher in a search engine results page when people search for keywords that are in your niche. And I think that with SEO, it's very important to have that in place. Otherwise, you're missing out on a whole range of people that can find you when they're just using Google. How many times a day do you use Google just to find something, even if you already know the company name? Or if you don't know and you're trying to find a website or a company that has services to offer, you just type in a keyword and you go on your way and you find someone. So yeah, so that's basically my goal, is just to get people on a pedestal and get them to a better place in SEO, and then transition to a bigger company that I'm partnered with.
I'm glad that you've established the foundation for us. Seth, the SEO space is rapidly changing, right? We see that our sort of major startups, they're often playing catch-up game to the algorithms that they're complying with, right? SEO is a dynamic area of marketing. It's always evolving, it's always changing. So let's establish the foundation, right? Why is SEO so hard, and what are algorithms doing that are causing marketers like yourself to always keep up to date on the latest best practices?
Sorry, I was muted. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a great question. I think that it's kind of hard because, there's so many responsibilities to being a business owner, especially when you're doing e-commerce. You're trying to keep up to date with everything. Well, SEO is basically the same exact thing, but with your website. Everything needs to be refreshed. Your content needs to be on point. Page speeds need to be on point as well. There's so many factors. In fact, there's over 200 factors that Google uses to rank your website and give you a grade, so that way they can give you enough qualification to rank higher on a search engine results page. And that's what SEO is. There's so many different things that go into it, that the day-to-day business owner just simply doesn't have enough time for. So, they outsource, they look for someone that knows what they're doing, that's not going to mess things up, and can get the job done.
SEO is a very unique industry as well, in that you often are able to make a change for what you're doing for SEO. However, that change may not be reflected right away in terms of the feedback loop. Sometimes is difficult for people to understand. So walk us through, right? So what are some of the things that you talk about with your clients for expectations, right? For example, you cannot make a promise that says, we will do work today and tomorrow you will rank on the first page of Google. So let's talk about the expectations of, what is the reality of change? How quickly do SEO practitioners expect change when they do implement something for their clients?
Yeah, another great question. Actually, there's a huge constant battle between people that want results fast, and then people who are able to be patient for a little bit and get the results that they need. And so there's a difference between black hat SEO strategies and white hat SEO strategies. And a simple definition of both of those is that black hat SEO are strategies that people are basically just using just to kind of manipulate SEO and try to get you backlinks and, different resources to get you ranked faster. Those are not sustainable. Although they can be done, they're not really what you want to go after. And white hat SEO is using organic and ethical practices that might take a little bit longer, depending on your niche and depending on how much competition is out there, which how big the world is. There's so much competition for everything, right? So using white hat SEO strategies is definitely recommended by a lot of SEO experts, just because it's sustainable. It will get you those results and you'll stay at that top result page. So I think that people that, just want to get the job done and, start getting in backlinks, spammed and flooding onto their site. Google is very smart. They're going to figure everything out. They're going to know, that you're having multiple backlinks and references from other pages, and it's just not going to work. So you can actually be penalized for that as well, and it can stay on your IP address as well. So.
Absolutely, yeah. This is one of the most important elements for people to consider, which is if you do something where it's malicious or you have a negative intent in your actions, then both search engines and social media platforms can penalize you for your actions. So, this is a tool that marketers use to empower brands, to empower businesses. However, you can misuse the same tools to create malicious intent, and it's really just a personal choice of the individual or teams that are leveraging the same technology. The same thing can be said for AI technologies. You can use the same technology for sort of to reduce world hunger, or you can create the same sort of leverage the same technology to impose a drought, and that drought sort of is creating a scenario where it's detrimentally affecting the population. So the technology is, I would say, industry or function agnostic, and SEO sounds just like it. So you can use it for good, you can use it to do some damage. But from a high level as well, Seth, I want to ask you a few questions about growth hacking. So, you're very deep into SEO space, into marketing. So what do you see as sort of either the differences between growth hacking and SEO, or how can perhaps SEO practitioners leverage growth hacking in their practice?
So I'm not sure if it was my connection, but I didn't get what you said at the end.
I'll just repeat myself. And again, this is a live event, so I remind everyone here that who is listening that sometimes we do have technical issues, but we're more than happy to work them out. So my question, Seth, was what do you think about growth hacking, and how does it relate to SEO?
Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that is growth hacking is kind of like a new thing for me, to be honest. I've always promised to be transparent and as honest as possible. So, is growth hacking basically getting results faster using certain strategies or techniques?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I would go right back to what I was just saying, that there's different strategies. You want to take a look at all the ranking factors and then just go down one by one, and that should get the job done. There's pretty much a lot that goes into SEO that will take time. Building a page authority, utilizing an EAT score, which is expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. It takes time to build those things and kind of get noticed out there. But as far as growth hacking, I know that there's a lot of programs and websites that are going on right now that are really geared towards getting a business owner visibility on a press site like CBS or Fox News, and they'll kind of get you going with those types of things. So those in themselves will actually get you backlinks that are, everybody knows about those. So that will get you traffic. And yeah, so I think as far as growth hacking and SEO, that's one strategy that could be found. But some things in SEO do take time just naturally.
Absolutely. Yeah, the space is quite fascinating. I've been keeping track of different growth strategies or growth hacking strategies, and it's always fun to see how people are creatively using the same tools, the same technologies, but in different ways. And that actually is a great segue to automation. So growth hacking is nothing more than using automation and applying automation to solve specific problems. So perhaps we're aiming to, for example, to better understand who our influencers are, right? If you're a brand and your goal is to, for example, get new clients, well, one of the best places to start is not necessarily to reach out to new clients, but to leverage your existing fans or followers and use them as a leverage to find new clients. In other words, you're going out and you're looking for who are your influencers. And once you've identified them, now you're using automation or software to go and find new clients. So this is one way that you can use growth hacking to acquire new customers. So growth hacking is really just the mindset to how you can grow as a brand. The word hacking implies that you're using a specific set of tools or technologies. And today we find so many different tools, so many different software out there. It's actually quite overwhelming if you want to keep track of it. I'm sure people have done their best to create mind maps of all of the different marketing related software out there. I can tell you there is an abundance of tools and techniques out there. I also want to highlight some of the most important concepts in marketing. When we're aiming to promote a product or service, we really want to generate content first, which we then can use to promote that content. So this is coming back to that first use case I mentioned before, that we can use AI technology to help marketers with copywriting. And so today we see abundance of content management software, and those include software solutions like Buffer or Hootsuite, and they're really managing content that would be posted on social media. So the first place that marketers start when they're aiming to create marketing campaigns for themselves or their customers is they want a system to manage content for them and schedule posts on social media ahead of time. Those posts can go out at the specific time. So this is where companies like Buffer or Hootsuite come in. So that first touch point to marketing is using automation. So Seth, I would love to chat with you about what are some of the high-level concepts for using software in marketing, and what are some of your favorite tools for marketing?
Yeah, is that regards to just marketing in total or SEO in specific?
Marketing.
To be honest, I'm not sure about too many tools with marketing. I know that there's so many out there, but definitely want to look at analytics in specific, because data that's measurable is data that you can use to your advantage and kind of play around with it. I know there's a lot with A/B testing and kind of figuring out what works, what doesn't. So really figuring out, kind of trying to perfect your strategy is definitely a key there. As far as tools, I'm not really sure about any tools or softwares to really use. But there's definitely got to be a few great ones out there.
Absolutely. So to come back to sort of the concept of automation. So technology allows us to leverage code and combine that with the media that the marketers create so that we can basically scale our efforts online without going door to door, right? Marketing, let's just sort of focus on the post-COVID-19 era where marketers are using digital marketing strategies to get their word out. If they're not doing traditional sort of marketing where they're using billboards or other means, then they're using digital means to spread themselves. And today we have social media platforms, we have advertisement platforms. These are all ways that marketers can use to spread their word. So besides being able to manage content on social media platforms, schedule ahead of time, then there's also the ad space, right? So marketers can use advertisements and they can use ad platforms to get their word out. So, we have all of the biggest social networks already have ad platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Google. They all make money on allowing companies to post ads on their platform, and they take a commission, a fee from every transaction that occurs with the click itself. So in other words, the companies who are interested to increase their exposure, they pay per click sometimes pay per view on the ads they're generating, and the companies, the platforms that are enabling these features are earning commission on these payments. So imagine if you are a real estate company and you want to target, for example, real estate agents in Indiana, then you would run ads on Facebook targeting real estate agents with a specific demographic, in a specific age. And the goal is to get these agents, these real estate agents, to click on your ads so that you ultimately can convert them to paying customers. So as a company, your goal is to get perhaps more customers. Perhaps another goal would be to increase brand exposure. So again, these are two high-level reasons why companies would want to invest capital into marketing. They either want to acquire new customers or they want to establish their market dominance. So we see companies pursuing these ad campaigns. We see companies throwing in millions of dollars into advertisements. And I want to highlight for everyone who's listening that now we have technology that are assisting the ad managers in the creation of these ads. These technologies are now powered by AI technologies. So one way that you can do that is you can create the ad copy itself. You can also use AI systems to manage and figure out what is the best variation of the ad. So we can do something called A/B testing using machine learning models. I just want to lay this as a foundation. Anyone who's throwing money, millions of dollars into ads, they can now use AI technologies to better create the ads and better manage these ads. So I'm now wondering, Seth, do you have any thoughts on the topic of advertisements or AI in ads?
Absolutely. So that's definitely something I can talk about. I couldn't believe I didn't think about it when you first asked the question with marketing, because it's so powerful. I'm familiar with a couple different AI technologies with ads, and one of the companies that I'm partnered with uses a advertisement program that's run by that they got from Amazon, and it basically runs like so much data. It runs about 350 attributes about a person to come down to a decision using machine learning, whether or not a person is ready to buy your product right now. So for example, if you're talking about Ferraris and it's just a 12-year-old kid on his iPhone, so a little bit background about that application is it's a voice scraper. So it scrapes conversations from your phone, from your Alexa devices, anything that has voice, and it's scraping the conversation and it's finding specific keywords to come to a decision if that's something that you need or if it's something that you're just talking about. So it runs all those attributes, including your job and how much money you make, a lot of data. And so if it's a 12-year-old kid talking about Ferraris with his friend, it's going to basically figure out that, he can't afford a Ferrari. So it's not going to show him ads, but if it's, someone who can, then it's going to show them ads. So that's lowering the customer acquisition cost. And I love talking about that AI because, it's so, specific, and it really gets down to, a target audience that's really ready to buy instead of, someone that just typed it into a keyword and, they were trying to find out more information about Ferraris. Now they're seeing Ferrari ads. So yeah, AI, Facebook right now is just amazing. Google Ads, another amazing application that can be used to gain great potential outreach.
I really love the example you shared with us, Seth. Using conversational data, using voice data, combining that application with AI technology is an amazing way to prepare for what's coming up next. So let's talk about what are marketers doing today? Like you and I are very well familiar with the new wave of social apps that are coming out. And what I mean by social apps, I'm talking about social audio applications. These are new platforms that are emerging right in front of us. We saw, for example, Clubhouse, which are sort of the leaders of the space, emerge in 2020 during COVID-19. We saw at least 10 million users jump in to these audio-only social platforms, and they are now at a point where they're able to monetize their platform by allowing creators to receive money on their platform. So we're seeing these platforms evolve. We're seeing social audio platforms emerge. Now we have companies like Twitter who are releasing features like Spaces. We have companies like LinkedIn confirming that they're working on a competitor called Audio Spaces. These are all social networks which are aiming to capitalize on the human attention where is today, and that human attention is using audio. So voice and audio are sort of the current mediums of attention, and any company who's interested to market today should definitely check out these platforms like Clubhouse. I encourage you, if you do not have a Clubhouse account, then I encourage you to text me.
Hey, Flav, are you still there?
Yeah, live. Okay, so we were experiencing a few technical issues, but hopefully this conversation can still go on. Seth, able to see myself or hear me?
Yes, the rendering on your screen is blurry a little bit, but I'm able to hear you now.
Okay, awesome. So what I'll do is just I'll focus on my screen for now, and then that way we can there I think we're back. So I want to sort of emphasize that if you are interested to get invited into Clubhouse, I encourage you to reach out to myself personally. Me and Seth are on Clubhouse. It's an amazing platform for marketers to use today that are able to spread the word. So how can we go past social audio, right? Today, we have these new companies and new platforms emerge. They're using our voice to get the word out, and it's an amazing technique for marketers to leverage. So I want to briefly chat about some of the applications that marketers can foresee in the future for how they use AI technologies in these social apps. So one of the ways to do that is to apply analytics on top of these social media platforms. So as I've mentioned, Clubhouse is a platform that is available to anyone who's interested to leverage their voice. And one tool we can build on top is analytics. And being able to make sense of audio data is one of the best applications of AI technologies. Understanding who is speaking, that's called speech recognition. Understanding and separating speaker from the background, that's called voice separation. All of these are examples of what's possible, right? Analyzing who is speaking, what they're saying, how it's being said are just some of the examples of how anyone can use AI technologies to make sense of voice data. So I just wanted to lay this foundation. We're going to see more of these social audio apps emerge, and we're going to see companies, startups, and systems being built on top of these amazing platforms. So I encourage all marketers to look into Clubhouse, and if you're interested, feel free to simply reach out to me. So what I'll do now in the live stream, I will post my phone number in the live stream. And if you're interested to get access to this particular platform, I encourage you to simply text me at the number you see down below. So hopefully that makes things a bit easier for you. So coming back to the topic of AI and marketing. So today we see marketers use all the tools possible to help them with marketing efforts. I see an abundance of startups leverage AI for copywriting. Now we're working on new tools that are bringing the same technology for ad space. So in other words, the goal for our brand at Puduvia is to generate ad copy for ad campaigns, but also you can also use the same technologies to make sense of the marketing data. So every single marketer is generating data already. They can analyze already analytics and different sort of feedback loops on social media platforms. So all this data presents rich opportunity for marketers to better understand how they can market better, right? So imagine as a marketer, you want to test, what is the best pitch for your brand or your client. Well, you can create copy in the form of text, audio, and video, put that on your social media platform, and within a week, you will see the reactions, you will see shares, you will see the engagement on your posts. And all this data can be analyzed in real time or retrospectively, and you can use AI technologies to make sense of it, right? So first step is to just holistically understand what's happening. You can use data science or just basic statistics. But as soon as you want to make more sense of that data, as soon as you want to predict, for example, what content you should create next, as soon as you want to predict who your next ideal customer is, this is a way for you to use these prediction models to become a better marketer. So, we are coming up on about an hour milestone. I want to start wrapping things up. We have about 9 minutes left on this live stream. I would love to also open the panel for Seth, allow Seth to, express his thoughts on, SEO, marketing, and ads. Feel free, Seth, to share your thoughts on either where we are today or where is the future of these technologies.
Yeah. Before I get into that, a little bit of thoughts on what you were saying earlier, actually, with the with different technologies that's out right now, like Clubhouse. I know that there's like you were telling me that there's one on Twitter now, and so actually with the background noise and like noise cancellations. I was trying to actually figure out the name of it, but I couldn't figure it out. It's if you're familiar with the application Discord, they actually have an integration where when you're talking on a two-way audio call with people, you can filter out the background noise of what's going on in the background, and it focuses just on your voice, and you can actually configure the intensity of it as well. So it's a really cool application. So going into SEO and marketing strategies, I would say that, we already covered white hat SEO, very, very important. But, there's so many different things to SEO to kind of, it's kind of hard to wrap everything all into one package. But if you really could, I would say focus on your content, making sure it's delivering the user intent, and it's giving the people that are visiting your site exactly the answers to the questions that they're looking for. A perfect example of this is to be putting on your website a FAQ, or frequently asked questions page on your website that has the questions and the answers in depth right there on the page, because Google can use that for when people are typing in a search query on Google. If they happen to type in the exact same question that you have on your website, you're more likely to come up. Another great thing, people that don't really understand the full broadness of SEO might just think that it's just about keywords, which it is a heavy detail, is keywords. But people say, there's so many people that will tell you, oh, I'll get you on the first page of Google within a day. So there's so many things wrong with that. Not just that they're probably using something that's not ethical, but also in a way that, what are you getting me ranked for exactly is the question that you should be asking. You can easily just configure a Google My Business account and pop up on the first page of Google when somebody types in the exact name of your company. But there's not just one or 5 or 10 keywords that you should be configuring around your website or your business or your niche. It's actually hundreds, if not thousands. You should be configuring yourself around every possible keyword that you can think of. That's going to make a difference and maximize that traffic. And I think a lot of people don't really understand that, and they think it's just a couple keywords, what describes their business the best, makes the difference. But it's really the more broad. All right, so with as far as keywords, there's broad keywords and then there's very specific keywords. Specific keywords might have a smaller outreach, but you're going to get people faster. Broader keywords might have a larger outreach, but there's going to be more competition, so it's going to be harder to rank for those specific keywords, or the broader keywords. But that's the difference, is kind of making everything in the content on your pages, in your videos, your images, making them all consolidated, so that way when you rank for those keywords, you're just going to get higher and everything's going to be configured the right way. So yeah, there's just so much to get into with it. Also, another thing to mention is making sure that your site has great page speed and site speed as well, because that's another key factor that Google's looking into, and it's transitioning from 10 years ago. SEO used to just be all about keywords. You can literally make a web page 10 years ago or 15 years ago and actually stuff keywords into your page, and you would magically pop up on the first page of Google. Well, things are evolving now. It's more based around the content and how fast your page loads to that user, because if someone clicks on your site and it takes a couple seconds for it to even load up, they're going to be more inclined to leave and go right back, which will increase your bounce rate. And you want to increase your click-through rate, and you want to decrease your bounce rate, because once somebody clicks on your site, if they press that back button, that's going to negatively affect your SEO. So you got to make sure that you're keeping people engaged. You're trying to increase your dwell time as well. How long a person is staying on your page or your website is very crucially important. And then also, last thing to make sure you optimize is your mobile content as well. Going back and forth between your layout on a desktop and tablets and for mobiles as well, because depending on what type of theme or what type of content you have on your page, the words might get cut off on a mobile view. It might not be laid out as best as it can be. So you definitely have to make sure that it's mobile friendly. Otherwise, you're going to very seriously damage your rankings.
I'm glad you shared those insights. And for everyone who is interested to hear more insights from Seth, I highly encourage you to find Seth on his website. I will now link his website. And also, Seth, feel free to take a moment and highlight what you want this audience to do. Do you want them to visit your website? Do you want them to contact you on Clubhouse? Feel free to do a simple 1 minute sort of finish before we end the stream.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So I would say, check out the website. It's not done yet. I just started making it. It does take time. I'm doing so many things. But if you go to the contact page of my website, there is a form you can fill out. You can also schedule, I do a free audit for people, and then I also do an in-depth audit, which will literally lay out all the problems on your website and give you detailed explanations of what those problems are, what pages on your website you need to focus on, and it's just super amazing. There's a link to a page on that contact us page that will say SEO from Seth on Clubhouse. And if you click on that link, you'll see some comments that people have made, and also you'll see everything about me on Clubhouse as well. So the links are all there on my website. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Seth. I also want to conclude this live event. I want to thank our future watchers, listeners. I want to thank our present watchers and listeners for being here with us on a Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want to thank Seth for being here. If you have any questions about what we discussed for Seth, feel free to reach out to him directly. I've shared the comment in the comment section below the link to his website, which is SEOFromSeth.com. And if you're interested to chat with me personally about how you can use AI technologies for your business, I encourage you to reach out and schedule a free 30-minute discovery call. You can do that by going to on the link below, produbio.com/start. So I'll also type this in for everyone who's joining the live stream via comment section. So that is my final thoughts on the topic. I want to thank Seth for being here with us. It's super fun to chat with you, as always, about marketing and AI technologies. And I'm excited to continue this conversation with all of our listeners in the future. We host these events as part of an educational series, which we aim to inspire, share best practices for entrepreneurs, decision makers, and executives on how they can use AI technologies in their business. So I definitely am excited and also thankful that Seth was able to come on with us. So thank you, Seth, for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you. Hopefully next time we can bring up some great new topics, and as well as some link building techniques I think what people love to hear about. So thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you, Slav.
Thanks, Seth. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us, and I will schedule my upcoming live event on all social media platforms shortly. So if you're interested to hear about our upcoming live events, then I encourage you to hit the link below, which is produbio.com/subscribe, and you will see email notifications for these types of events. So feel free to do that so that you're the first to know when we share best practices for using AI technologies. I want to thank you for being here. And once again, I will see you next